Today, I'm sharing a tale about a simple letter, a quiet park, and two hearts who found each other against all odds. Get cozy and let's dive right in. October mornings in San Francisco stretched under a soft golden light. Golden Gate Park lay draped in a fine mist, where maple trees shed crimson and amber leaves that twirled lazily on a gentle breeze. Sparrows chattered from the branches, and a small pond mirrored slow drifting clouds, as if time itself had forgotten to move. Through this tranquil scene, Gabriel Hart walked, his tall frame wrapped in a long charcoal gray wool coat. His noise-canceling headphones sealed him off from the world, muting the morning's quiet symphony into a distant hum. Gabriel Hart had once possessed everything: wealth, power, and a tech empire the world revered. At 48, he was the epitome of success in San Francisco. Glass towers bearing his name, glittering boardroom meetings, and a penthouse overlooking the bay. Yet, behind it all, Gabriel lived in a hollow emptiness that nothing seemed able to fill. 5 years earlier, his marriage had quietly ended. The woman who once promised forever had walked away, leaving behind the shattered illusion of happiness. Since then, Gabriel had moved like a shadow through his own life, commanding the company by day, returning at night to a cavernous apartment where only the city lights kept him company. He didn't know yet that on this seemingly uneventful morning, a small piece of paper, caught in the breeze like a whisper, was about to drift into his path and alter the course of his life forever. Gabriel wandered along the winding paths of Golden Gate Park, where the morning light threaded through the trees, scattering golden flecks across the ground. Every morning, this walk had become his ritual before facing another grueling day of meetings. Not for pleasure, but for a momentary illusion of peace before diving into the chaos. As he neared the cluster of ginkgo trees, something unusual caught Gabriel's eye: a folded piece of cream-colored paper trapped among the fallen leaves. At first, he thought to ignore it. Parks were littered with scraps of trash each morning, but something made him stop. Gabriel bent down, retrieving the paper. He intended to toss it into the nearest bin, but the texture of it halted him. Thick, heavy, luxurious. The kind of paper meant for something important, not a grocery list or a flyer. He unfolded it carefully. Handwritten lines stretched across the page in soft, flowing blue ink. It wasn't an invoice, nor a forgotten note. It was a letter. A love letter. "I returned to our bench today," it began, "the one where you first held my hand as the autumn leaves tumbled around us." The writer spoke of a love long lost, but never truly gone, lingering in the heart like the hidden rings within a tree's trunk, silent, unseen, but always there. Gabriel read slowly, each word brushing against a heart he thought long frozen. Memories, confessions of love, and a quiet sorrow soaked into every line. When he folded the letter again, his fingers trembled slightly. He glanced around, half expecting someone to be watching, someone who might lay claim to this unguarded moment. But the park was sparse, just joggers pounding the paths, elderly couples walking their dogs, and the restless whisper of the wind through the trees. Slipping the letter into his coat pocket, Gabriel continued on his walk. Yet the familiar trail seemed blurred now, as if the world itself had softened. His mind drifted toward a place he thought he'd sealed away forever, a place where longing still lived, quietly, patiently. All that day, Gabriel couldn't shake the letter from his mind. Intense board meetings, buried beneath financial reports, and even as night fell and he sipped a solitary glass of wine in his cold penthouse, he felt the thin paper whispering from his coat pocket. It wasn't just a scrap lost in the park. It was a testament to enduring memory, to a longing Gabriel had long believed was dead within him, the yearning to connect, to be loved, to be missed. He sat silently at his desk, the soft glow of the lamp falling over the folded letter. Gabriel read it again, over and over, as if afraid to lose even a single nuance hidden in the loops of blue ink. "Someday," it read, "I will stop searching for you in every passing face, but not today, not while the leaves still fall." Gabriel closed his eyes for a moment, letting the words seep deep into places he had long sealed away. When he opened them, he pulled a heavy sheet of stationery from his drawer, matching the letter's elegance. With a care he rarely showed in business, he penned a reply. To the one who left such words beneath the ginkgo trees. Your words have found a home in a heart, once convinced it had turned to stone. If you are willing, I would love the chance to return them to you. No name, no address, no phone number. Just a message cast out into the universe, hoping someone might be brave enough to catch it. The next morning, beneath a soft veil of mist, Gabriel returned to Golden Gate Park. He pinned his small note to the community bulletin board, amidst ads for yoga classes, concert flyers, and lost dog notices. For a moment, he stood there, staring at his words fluttering lightly in the morning breeze, a strange cocktail of fear and fragile hope rising in his chest. Then, Gabriel turned and walked deeper into the misty park, leaving behind a piece of his guarded heart, waiting for a miracle. The first day, there was nothing. The second day, Gabriel returned to the bulletin board, heart tight with anticipation, only to find his own paper still alone among the cluttered notices. But on the third day, something small had changed. Right beside Gabriel's note, another cream-colored slip appeared, the same graceful handwriting. Some things aren't meant to be returned, but if you truly read it, perhaps we have already met. Gabriel stood frozen, the small note trembling slightly in his fingers, his heart pounding against his ribs. Already met, the words wound their way deep inside him, igniting a sweet, thrilling nervousness he hadn't felt in years. That night, he penned a new reply. Your words woke parts of me I've thought long dead. Please, tell me more about you. Who is the soul I've found through these lines? The next day, another note awaited him. On the woman who brings daisies to her mother's nursing home every Sunday. I'm the music teacher who helps children find their voices. I'm the one who still cries at sad movies and believes in second chances, even when they seem impossible. Through those brief, anonymous exchanges, a picture began to form. Elena Brooks, 42 years old, a piano and violin teacher at a community arts center in San Francisco, a woman carrying fragile but stubborn hope, despite old scars. Gabriel replied too, not as the powerful CEO the world saw, but as a man who had lost his way within hollow achievements. He wrote about his mother, a once famous poet whose brilliant mind was now slowly unraveling under Alzheimer's disease. He confessed that his previous marriage had felt more like stylish furniture placed side by side rather than a partnership built on love. Success, Gabriel wrote, is its own kind of sweet prison. I built walls to protect myself, but in the end, I only trapped myself inside them. And so, day by day, note by note, a bridge of words slowly began to span the distance between two lonely hearts. A week passed, and the letters between Gabriel and Elena grew ever more intimate. Each morning, Gabriel hurried to the community board in the park, like a boy rushing toward a hidden treasure. One late evening, after retrieving a new note from Elena, Gabriel stopped by his usual corner cafe, the place where he grabbed espresso every morning, not because he needed caffeine, but because he wanted to linger in the feeling just a little longer. As he waited, his gaze wandered across the warmly lit room, and then froze. By the window, a woman sat alone, scribbling notes onto sheets of music. Her chestnut hair was loosely pinned back, a few strands escaping to frame her face. Beside her, a steaming cup of tea and a well-worn tote bag completed the scene. Gabriel knew, with a strange certainty that went deeper than recognition, it was her. Elena, as if every letter, every word had quietly led him here. He stood rooted to the spot, his mind tumbling over itself. Should he approach her? Should he risk shattering the fragile magic their letters had created? His name was called from the counter. Gabriel, startled, hurried to grab his coffee and stepped back into the cool night air, his heart heavy with unspoken longing. Not tonight. He wasn't ready. But deep inside, He knew. The thread of fate had already tied them together. Gabriel couldn't sleep that night. The image of Elena by the window haunted him, wrapped in a mix of hope and fear. The next morning, in a moment of reckless clarity, he decided it was time to step out from behind the letters. He wrote a new note, simple but decisive. I believe I have recognized you. If I'm wrong, I'll vanish. But if I'm right, please meet me beneath the ginkgo trees where the first letter fell, tomorrow at noon. Nothing more. He pinned it to the community board and walked away, his heart hammering in his chest. Following day, Gabriel arrived nearly half an hour early. Golden Gate Park lay under a thin veil of mist, the trees brushed with a silvery hue. He stood beneath the towering redwoods, black umbrella in hand, his mind a whirl of doubt and anticipation. Time crawled. Joggers and mothers with strollers hurried past, still no sign of her. Then, through the shifting mist, Gabriel saw her, Elena. She carried a small purple umbrella, dressed in a simple long coat and practical boots. Her eyes scanned the sparse crowd until they found his. In that moment, the world seemed to hush. Gabriel stepped forward, each movement carrying both terror and hope. When only a few feet separated them, Elena stopped. "Are you the one who found my letter?" she asked, her voice soft, trembling slightly. Gabriel nodded, offering a tentative smile. "Gabriel Hart?" A flicker of recognition crossed Elena's face. The name was not unfamiliar to anyone in the city. But she did not retreat. She simply extended her hand. "I'm Millionaire Brooks," she said, "though you already know that." Her hand was warm and steady in his, as if to anchor them both after years spent adrift. They sat side by side on a weathered stone bench beneath the towering redwood trees. The filtered light broke through the soaring branches above, bathing the space in a muted golden glow. At first, there was a tentative silence between them, not awkward, but reverent, as if both recognized how fragile this moment was. It was Elena who spoke first. "I wrote that letter," she said softly, her eyes tracing the tangled roots at their feet, "on the anniversary of the last time I believed in forever." Gabriel listened, offering no interruption. He felt each of her words like a small stream trickling across the cracked earth of his own heart. He answered, voice low and deliberate. "I found it at a time when I'd forgotten what it felt like to long for someone. Strange, isn't it? How a simple page can pull a person back from his own forgetting." Elena gave a faint, wistful smile. "Maybe we're just two lost souls, finding each other here in this forest." Gabriel nodded gently. Beneath the ancient trees, amidst a carpet of fallen leaves, two fractured hearts found a common language. Pain, hope, and a silent promise that this time they would not walk alone beneath the crimson glow of autumn's redwoods. A new life quietly began. The days that followed felt like a dream. Gabriel and Elena slowly became fixtures in each other's worlds. They wandered together beneath canopies of gold, spent hours on park benches sharing stories of everyday life and hidden sorrows. Gabriel found himself laughing more easily, and for Elena, the world seemed suddenly richer with color. But reality didn't let them linger in bliss for long. One morning, as Gabriel stepped into his office, his assistant Lucas hurried toward him, face tight with concern. "You need to see this," Lucas said, handing him a tablet. On the screen was a tabloid headline blaring. "Mysterious tech billionaire seen dating ordinary music teacher?" Beneath it, a grainy photo. Gabriel and Elena leaving a cafe, Gabriel's hand resting lightly, protectively on her back. The article didn't just mock their class difference. It insinuated that Elena might be a gold digger, exploiting Gabriel for status. Gabriel tightened his grip on the tablet, his jaw set. He knew this was only the beginning. Rumors spread quickly. Parents at the art center where Elena taught began whispering. Investors at Gabriel's company started to express quiet concern, questioning whether his personal life might affect his business decisions. One evening, as they sat together in the soft glow of Gabriel's apartment, Elena reached for his hand, her eyes serious. "Gabriel," she whispered, "we're walking straight into a storm." He squeezed her hand tighter. I know, but this time I'm not letting go. The pressure mounted with each passing day. Sensational headlines flooded the news. Shareholders whispered about Gabriel losing his mind. Anonymous calls reached the art center, questioning Elena's position as a teacher. One evening, under the soft golden light of Gabriel's apartment, Elena sat across from him, clutching a cup of tea between trembling hands. Gabriel, she said, her voice small but resolute, we have to be realistic. If we keep going like this, you'll lose your company, I'll lose my job. And all because She couldn't finish the sentence. Gabriel placed his hand gently over hers, his gaze steady and unwavering. I've already lost so much, Elena, he said quietly. If I have to lose everything else to keep you, then what remains is everything I need. Elena closed her eyes, torn between logic and the wild beating of her heart. I don't want to be the reason you regret, she whispered. Gabriel leaned closer, his voice low and sure, a vow etched into the air between them. The only regret I'll ever have is letting you walk away. In the heavy silence that followed, one thing became clear. A choice had to be made, and this time it wasn't just about careers or reputation. It was about the fragile, precious future two battered hearts were trying to build together. The next morning, Gabriel walked into the boardroom with an eerie calmness. The directors looked at him, some with concern, others with thinly veiled disdain. Before anyone could speak, Gabriel rose to his feet. No grand speech, no apologies. Today, he said, his voice clear and unwavering, I resign. The room fell into stunned silence. He continued, I built Hardtech for nothing, but success means nothing if it becomes the excuse for losing myself. No one dared to speak. No one dared to move. Gabriel signed the papers waiting on the polished mahogany table, then gathered his things by hand. No assistance, no ceremony. As he stepped out onto the wide city street, the morning sun poured down, casting long golden shadows. For the first time in years, Gabriel inhaled deeply. He had made his choice. No longer power or fame or control, but freedom and hope, and a woman waiting for him beneath the redwoods, where the last of autumn still clung to the trees. 2 weeks later, Gabriel and Elena left San Francisco behind. They rented a small house nestled among the sprawling vineyards of Sonoma, where the hills rolled soft and green, and golden afternoons stretched like invitations to start over. The house was simple, but warm, a creaky old fireplace, a second-hand piano Elena found at a thrift shop in town, and wide windows that welcomed the morning sun like an old friend. Life here was so quiet that at first it unsettled Gabriel. No more board meetings, no endless calls, just him, Elena, and the small world they were slowly building together. Elena began teaching music to the children of the town. Small, joyous lessons held in their living room, filled with laughter and off-key singing. Gabriel, meanwhile, sketched out ideas for a new project, educational software designed for rural schools, something that mattered more than quarterly profits. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sun melt into the vineyards, Elena rested her head against his shoulder. "Did you ever think you'd find peace like this?" she asked softly. Gabriel chuckled, a deep, quiet sound born of genuine contentment. "I didn't find it, Elena," he whispered. "You brought it to me." That Christmas Eve, in a house bathed in candlelight and soft music, Gabriel handed Elena a cream-colored envelope, just like the ones they had once exchanged. Inside, there were no grand declarations, no elaborate promises, only trembling, handwritten words. "You found me when I had forgotten how to hope. You made me believe not just in miracles, but in myself again. Please, let me be your shelter today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come." When Elena looked up, her eyes shimmering with joyful tears, she could only whisper, "Yes." A month later, they held a small wedding beneath the towering redwoods. Just a few close friends and family gathered. No extravagance, just sincerity. One winter afternoon, after the ceremony, they sat together on the porch, their hands entwined, Beside them, 2 steaming cups of tea sent wisps of warmth curling into the crisp air. No words were needed. Only the wind through the trees, the rustle of dry leaves, and the steady beat of 2 hearts finding peace together. A new chapter had begun, and it had all started with a small, forgotten letter, a gift of fate, dropped in a quiet corner of the park. And just like Gabrielle and Elena, maybe the smallest moments can lead to the most beautiful chapters of our lives. Thank you for sharing this journey with me today. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in love's quiet miracles. Until next time, take care and keep your heart open. You never know what might be waiting just around the corner. See you in the next story.